Next, we'll have Mr. Suresh Sethi, CEO of Protean, give his talk. So please.
Namaskar, good morning. I think very difficult to steal the act after Abhishek and all the ways he showed how we can crack it. But I think the big story today is it's about inclusivity. As we look at creating a larger and a stronger digital public infrastructure, is the question of ensuring that we don't end up widening the digital divide. It's about connecting the haves and the have-nots. Nandan spoke about it in the morning that how do we connect and how do we bring people together with an assisted play. I love the name that Aniket has put to the company Haqdarshak. Haq mane adhikar. So how do you get the people their rights? India today is a global case study in the way our digital public infrastructure has been laid out. I was only last week in Africa, and we are talking about a continent, we are talking about multiple countries. And India as a single country is reflective of the complexity and scale of a continent. Amazingly, we have states which are as large as some of the countries and which have as much or larger population over here. We are looking at a country where there are 100 plus active languages, which effectively means that projects like Bhashini become so important and critical for us so that we can get everybody inclusive into it. A lot of India is living in rural places. And we talk about have and have nots. Even as we speak, there is an India with a smartphone, there's an India with a feature phone, and there's an India without a phone. So I think some of our fundamental aspects in which we've created our DPIs, and we see it as an amazing case study, is about how do you bring the assisted play to get people their rights. Very rarely have we seen a combination, and I would like to talk about India Post, where the Ministry of Communication and the Ministry of Finance have come together, and the government has been able to put forward an institutional footprint to create an assisted model. Just to share, today India Post boasts of the largest network of workers on the ground. When we looked at the model, there were almost 155,000 post offices. There were 300,000 postal workers providing logistics services, almost touching every household within a matter of 24 hours. So they can access any household at the doorstep. What the government did when we look at the regulatory enablement, the central bank came in with differentiated guidelines to set up a different type of a bank. The government, through an act of parliament, allowed the India Post to apply for a banking license. And we were able to put a simple device and a smartphone and a biometric device in the hands of a Dakia. And he effectively became a mobile banking unit going to every household. The PM's stated vision of saying we want to have a banking facility within 5 kilometers of any household. Actually, with this institution, we were able to take it to 0 kilometer of every household in the country. Effectively, what happened with that was that you could not just enable people to be included into the financial formal economy by opening of bank accounts. More importantly, the structure of our banking infrastructure or the digital public infrastructure built on India Stack meant that the Dakia today had the ability for a person with Aadhaar to access any bank account in the system. So anybody who was having an Aadhaar seeded bank account could access their account. So the last mile Dakia did not just serve India Post, it was able to serve every bank in the country. And the rural banking infrastructure went up by 2.5 times. It's an amazing success story. And when we look at our welfare state, 7% of India's GDP is going as subsidy. Now you're talking about a person who can actually bring it to your home. Pandemic played it out in a big way. The government was first of all able to put money directly into the accounts of the people. Jan Dhan today enabled almost 470 million accounts where you can put direct money through Aadhaar. And the digital identifier for accessing an Aadhaar-based account is your national ID. So a Dakia could actually come home, you could use your fingerprint, and you can access the benefits. During COVID, almost 36,000 crores of subsidy was distributed, and millions of people were benefited in matters of hours and days. I think no place in the world we've been able to achieve a similar sort of inclusive infrastructure. Social security is at the heart of it. Aniket would know best. There are so many schemes. There's so much welfare. It's all about being able to discover schemes, being able to know what is the person's right to access and get benefited by them. So our DPIs today have been structured in a manner where you're able to do discovery, you're able to do credentialing, so there's trust in the system, and you know you are going after the right schemes which are listed over there, and you are therefore able to access your rights. So this interoperability and the ability for the public and private sector to come together and play on top of a common digital infrastructure has been very critically enforced. So I think looking at our scale diversity, the big play over here to talk about is assisted. And I think entities like Haqdarshak, like India Post have really moved the needle. And we see more and more partnerships coming together, more and more tech playing a role, assisted or otherwise, in enabling everybody to be a part of this ecosystem. So I wish this conference all the best. Amazing galaxy of entrepreneurs, practitioners sitting out here, and I look forward to being part of the discussions during the rest of the day. Thank you.